Hi guys, welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer and welcome back to another week of Premier League predictions. And guys, I feel like the lighting today is doing me a bit dirty. I'm looking very orange. I don't know why today. But anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about Premier League predictions. And let's get into it because for those of you that are keeping up with our weekly predictions, you'll know that we have a league going on. And at the moment, well, looking at last week, myself and James both achieved 5 points, which means James, unfortunately, continues to keep his lead, and I really do need to start closing the gap. Hopefully I can finish the back end of this year strong and go into 2024 with a smaller gap to close, but let's see how I get on anyway. And let's get into these predictions for this week. And we start off with what is a very big game, actually. It's Palace taking on Brighton. And of course, it is a derby. Is it the M23 derby, I believe it's called? It's a big game for these two teams regardless. And I think it's going to be an interesting game because, of course, this is one on the telly and two, it's going to be a very feisty game. It always is, to be fair, and it's one I do enjoy watching. And I think there's going to be goals in this one. I really do. You could look at form, you could look at who's higher up in the table, but I always think to some degree anyway, when it's a derby, these kind of things do go out the window rather. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go for a draw. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think there's going to be goals and hopefully we do get a very exciting game. Of course, I think some of you may be watching this video probably after this because we are releasing this literally the afternoon before the game, but never mind. Right, on to Aston Villa next, who take on Sheffield Wednesday. And I mean, look, you could really micro-analyse this one, but let's just be honest. Look at Villa's home form. Are they going to probably struggle against Sheffield United, where no disrespect to them, of course, but where they are in the table? I don't think so. I think Villa get the job done. I think you'd have to be a bad betting person to back against Villa as well in this one. I think they get it done pretty convincingly. So I'm going to go Aston Villa 3, Sheffield United 0. Apologies, any Sheffield United fans watching. Let's move on to another game. Not this one, because this one, of course, is postponed as Man City are playing in the Club World Cup. So we swiftly move on to West Ham next, who take on Manchester United. And, of course, it was a West Ham team who didn't perform well, to say the least, against Liverpool, did they? It was one of those where, they could have got something probably more out of the game if they'd started their strongest team. I know David Moyes has come under a bit of pressure for that reason, and he is under a little bit of pressure as well, just in general. Of course, there is another manager that is very much under pressure in this one, and that is, of course, Ten Hag. I mean, he's facing more and more criticism, and there's going to be eyes on whether he can last the season as well. I think this one honestly could go either way, to be honest. And I think I'm going to go down the middle. I'm going to call it a draw, especially with West Ham being at home. I'm going to go for 1-1 in this one. I think they'll share the points going into Christmas. Hi guys, just a quick one for me before we get back to the video. At the start of December, I set you guys the target of helping us to get to 5,500 subscribers before the end of the year. As I'm recording this, I believe we're just 2 subscribers away. So if you can help us out, hit that subscribe button, get us past that target. And even if we are past it once you're watching this, please do just continue to subscribe if you are enjoying the video. Hit that like button as well. And let's get back to these Premier League predictions. Let's move on next to Spurs, who take on Everton. And again, I think this is a really interesting game. I do, because Spurs have started to get back some of their players now. Of course, they're still missing Maddison, but some players are coming back. And with that, Tottenham are sort of picking back up their form from where they left off. Obviously, they started really well at the start of the season. Things did kind of tail away due to the injuries, but they are starting to pick up some form. But they take on an Everton team who, of course, the informed team of the season. If you look at the season of the Premier League, if you look at the last 4 games, 4 wins on the bounce, you wondered how they were going to act with that 10 points deduction. Well, they've actually acted really amicably and they've been doing absolutely fantastic, to be honest. So this is a really tough one to call. I've changed my mind multiple times on this one. I just have a sneaky feeling with Spurs being at home now, they might just get over the line. But honestly, wouldn't surprise me whoever wins this one. But I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 marginal win to Spurs. Let's move on to Nottingham Forest next, who take on Bournemouth. And of course, Nottingham Forest with a new manager in charge, Nuno Espirito Santo, is back in the Premier League. Of course, he won't have had much time to really get his ideology across or even suss out who he, wants to be in his starting lineup. He's only been in the job a literally matter of a couple of days, and then he comes up against the Bournemouth team, who obviously changed their manager at the start of the season, and now things do feel really more settled at Bournemouth. They're picking up some good results. They've obviously had some players come back from injury, and it does seem like Iraola is kind of setting his mark on what he wants that Bournemouth team to look like. Nottingham Forest was always a fortress last season. Even some of the bigger teams struggled to go to the City ground and get some points. And I think that's where Nuno really needs to start picking up some points straight away. And one of the things you should target, getting that good home form back. I'm going to go down the middle again. I think I've given quite a lot of draws today, to be honest, but I'm going to go down the middle again. I'm going to say 1-1 with this prediction. Let's move on next to Fulham, who take on Burnley. And this is a Fulham team who should get the job done. But I always find Fulham hard to judge because sometimes they look so good. Other times, not so much, let's just be honest. Of course, they'll be without Raul Jimenez, who will be serving a ban due to the red card, which is a shame because it looked like Jimenez had finally got back into some form. He was scoring, delivering. I wonder how much of a miss he will be. Burnley, on the other hand, they need to start picking up some points and need to start doing it quickly. Question is, will they get anything against Fulham? Oh, can I call another draw? I've called so many draws, but I'm going to 1-1 in this one. You know what? I just have another feeling. I think I've scored about 3 1-1 draws in this. Maybe it'll come true. Who knows? Right, let's move on to Luton, who take on Newcastle. And, really sad news, obviously, last week with Tom Lockyer. You pray and hope that, he's just fine and there's no long-term damage. And I think that's all that matters in those kind of situations. But it will be interesting to see from a football side how Luton respond without the captain, without the leader, and obviously just emotionally from that situation. They take on a Newcastle team who went out of the Carabao Cup. And I think due to that, now not having the Champions League, now not having the Carabao Cup, they've only really got the FA Cup, which obviously inevitably for the Premier League teams has yet to start, and the league. They'll really need to start focusing on the league and picking up some points. And I think they'll get past Bournemouth. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Newcastle. 2 more games to call, and the next one is a huge one. It is Liverpool, who take on Arsenal. And interesting of Jurgen Klopp, weren't it, to criticise the Liverpool fans? And I really do have an issue with what he said, talking about the atmosphere. A lot of Premier League clubs have priced tickets massively too high. You look at the economic situation of Liverpool, and it's not just Liverpool, it's a lot of other clubs as well. It's no wonder that atmospheres are diminishing because the true fans that are there every week just purely can't afford it anymore. So what are you going to get? You're going to get more tourists, more day trippers, and more just people that don't know the chance, etc. I know I have nothing against day trippers, and I have nothing against, obviously, tourists coming in to watch a team, but they're not going to carry the same atmosphere. So I think Jurgen really does need to have a sense check of himself. But in regards to this, it's a huge game, and he has called for Liverpool fans to be on side from the first minute. This is also a huge test for Mikel Arteta as well. Arsenal, once again, they're in the title race. And I do think if they want to be serious title contenders, they need to pull off a big statement. It could be a big statement by beating Liverpool away from home. And do you know what? I'm actually going to back them to do it. I'm going to go Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1 in this fixture. And to finish things off, it is Wolves, who take on Chelsea, and obviously some controversy surrounding this game, not because of either the two teams, but just the fact it is being played on Christmas Eve. And of course, it will be a game that I am going to 1 o'clock. It is on Christmas Eve. Personally, I don't mind it, but then I have to be mindful that I don't have any kids. I don't really have. Well, I have Christmas things to do, of course, but, you do have to, and I also don't have to travel back like the Chelsea fans. So I'm all right with it, but do I think it's right? Perhaps not. But looking at the game itself, it's going to be really interesting. Will Pochettino be able to continue their little small bit of form they've been having over the last couple of games, which is kind of a turn of form in some ways, I suppose. I think they will. I think Chelsea win this one. I'm going to go Chelsea 2, unfortunately for my club. Wolves 0. Guys, that is my predictions, but I have brought up on screen James's predictions as well for you to have a feast on. And of course, as I said at the start of the video, if you can do me a massive favor, hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And of course, most importantly, have a fantastic Christmas, guys. It is going to be our last one before Christmas, inevitably. So have a fantastic Christmas. In regards to the predictions for the next games week, of course, there's a very quick turnaround. And we're just going to be completely honest. I doubt either of us will be able to get them done. I know I won't. I will check with James. But if we can't do it, what we will do is we will put our predictions on a YouTube post for you guys to check out. So for those of you that are keeping it up to date on the weekly predictions league, we'll keep you up to date with how that's progressing. And of course, we'll make sure if we do miss these ones, we'll be back for the next ones, of course. Guys, fantastic. Hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Take care. Goodbye.